Good afternoon. I'm Sue Serio. It is 12 noon and we're watching a line of showers and thunderstorms moving through the area as we look at this part of Westchester, Pennsylvania. You can see that it's raining pretty heavily there. As we look at ultimate Doppler radar, we see that it's raining pretty heavily in plenty of other places as well. As a matter of fact, we have severe thunderstorm warnings in a lot of locations this afternoon, including Cumberland County in New Jersey. In the Philadelphia area, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that extends until 12:15, and further north there's a lot more going on. Let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, also under a severe thunderstorm warning. So as we put everything in motion, you can see that the whole system is moving from west to east. It's at a rate of about 40 miles an hour, and we'll zoom in just in a couple of places. Been watching this cell down here in Newcastle County, Delaware, that moved across the river into Cumberland County, New Jersey, under the severe thunderstorm warning. So we can stop that. Let's see. Okay. And show you that this area right here of purple, as it moves along, that probably has some hail associated with it. So we have heavy downpours, hail, and the risk of flash flooding. So the area is also under a flash flood warning, and that extends from this area in red that you see here in Chester County all the way up to Trenton, New Jersey. So this is rainfall that's falling at a pretty good clip everywhere that it moves. And again, when we see the areas of purple that are popping up, that could indicate that some hail is falling as well. So you're not only dealing with rain that is heavy, there's some hail. We've had some reports of pea-sized hail, and we've had lightning. I'll just show you real quick. No, here we go. Look at all the lightning strikes that we have in the area right now. So a lot of this is going to be with us for the next couple of hours. And if you're down the shore or in parts of New Jersey where things aren't really that active right now, it is all headed your way. So keep an eye to the sky, and remember, if you're traveling around and you run across a flooded roadway, turn around, don't drown. We'll keep an eye on this all afternoon for you, and keep you updated about what's going on. Let's join Jennifer Hudson, already in progress, as we look at the rain falling heavily in Media, Delaware County.
Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Drew Anderson from your FOX29 Weather Authority Weather Center. Just want to get you up to date on the tornado warning. So here's what's going on right here. It's this box right here, including Cumberland County. It's in effect through 12:45. So we're going to keep an eye on everything. And you know, we've been seeing these storms, so much lightning with all these storms. Take a look right now. All these storms that have been barreling through have been a problem with heavy rain, all this lightning. Let's get a closer inspection of what's going on with this tornado warning. I want to see if there's any rotation or anything like that. So here's where we're looking at for the tornado warning right now. And we'll loop this, just kind of give a feel over the last couple hours. And look how this is moving pretty fast at the moment here. So we're particularly focused right here in this area. And what we'll do is we'll just bring it in just like that and show you some of the communities where you have the concern. So this box you see right here, this red color, these are the communities in the tornado warning in Cumberland County, New Jersey. So includes the county seat as well, just to kind of give you a feel. And let's take a look at some of the radar data. This gives us a feel for what's the strength of the storm, exactly the potential for a tornado, because a lot of times you get these tornadoes, they're radar indicated. So let's get a closer inspection right now. What's going on? We'll pull up our radar here. This is the local radar, and I'm gonna look at the wind mode of Doppler radar. This is one of the things that we look at just to judge the strength of a tornado, and I'm not seeing anything just on the fly right here that particularly concerns me. Let me just switch radars a little bit. We'll check it out on this one right here and taking a look at that right there. So this would be the one little spot I'm kind of zone in on. And I'll take a closer look as well right now. In addition to this tornado warning, we do have some flash flood warnings because of this incredible amount of rain as well that's been showing up in different parts of our area. All right, so if there were to be a tornado, it would be going over Buckhorn Road right there in these communities that you can see right here on the Cumberland County area. So let me zoom out. Let me just kind of give you a feel for what's going on. This, by the way, in effect through 12:45 p.m. Yeah, go ahead, Kathy. Thank you so much. My colleague Kathy Orr with us as well. So let me just kind of zoom out here and give you a feel for what's happening. All right, so thanks, Kathy. This is just from the National Weather Service. We are talking about this tornado warning that's in effect in Cumberland County. So the storm that they're concerned about, we just saw, is the one right here. I'm honing in on this area, and you know what we're going to do? Let's distract this storm here for a second. So we're all both looking at the same area. I got to tell you, in terms of when I look at one of these warnings and things like that, it doesn't mean there's not a tornado on the ground, but there's nothing that really concerns me out of this one. What this means is there's some rotation in the storm. So if you were in that area, you would see the clouds above you rotating, and at any time a tornado could drop down, and that's why the National Weather Service issued a tornado warning on that right there. So let's get a closer look exactly where it's at right now. If there were to be a tornado on the ground, we're focusing on this. These colors you see right here are just kind of an indicator of just the wind mode of Doppler radar. So I'm going to take a look at some of these communities right here as well. So let's zoom out here and just kind of give you the bigger picture. These tornado warning boxes that are red, they get wider as time goes on just because the path can change a little bit. So I'm looking at this area. See some of these purples right there? That would be some indicators of some hail. So I'm looking at that right there. It's just kind of letting you know that, yeah, we got some heavy rain for sure right there. So we'll get a feel for exactly what's going on as we take a look at our area right here. So let me loop this. This is moving at about 30 miles an hour right here. So we're just seeing right now, let me get a little closer look right here. And this is exactly the little spot where we're honing in on. So Shiloh, Bridgeton in particular, you're on a tornado warning, just giving you that heads up that it's possible for a tornado to come down. Likely the winds will be around 100 miles an hour. Here's, oh wow, look at this. Look at 42 right there. So you can see how the heavy rain is just slowing things down. And so that's been an issue. Look at the lightning. Man, there's been so much lightning out of these storms. You can see that. And these storms continue to move across New Jersey. We stopped by because, look at all the lightning, by the way. We stopped by because of the tornado warning that's going on right now in Cumberland County, which is why we sort of interrupt Jay Hudd this afternoon just to get this information out just for anyone who is in parts of Cumberland County. Otherwise, these storms are so nasty across. Yeah, thank you so much, Kathy. So just some more updated details right here on that. And so we got that, yeah, in fact, through 12:45, current time right now, about 12:30 or so, and moving up southeast about 30 miles an hour. So I'm going to track this storm for us. So let me give you a little feel of where it's going. So I'm just checking some of our different products right here on the radar as we wind things out. So let's see here. So we got that, and this is kind of putting a little track on the storm right there just to kind of get you oriented. And we'll get a closer look right there. So this right here is the core of the storm where it is the most strongest right now to kind of give you a feel. And I'll kind of widen things out. We'll look at the communities. Thank you so much, Kathy, my colleague Kathy, back in the Weather Center, kind of widening things out and keeping an eye on all the information that's just coming in right now. So these are the communities right here. Regardless, you're getting so much rain and so much lightning out of this storm. I just want to widen things out and just kind of give you the perspective of what else is going on. All these rates you see here are flash flood warnings just because it has been so wet. We're talking inches of rain that's come down. I just got some video from a buddy of mine in Monaco, and he had his front yard just looked like a pond at this point. So we'll take a closer look right here. This is one of our tools that can indicate the strength of a potential tornado, and so that one's not kind of indicating that. So let me kind of widen out a bit more here and take a look at where the tornado warning is. We're focused right here in this area right now. Let me turn off the lightning. Let's get a closer look at the storm. Now, I will tell you that radar picture right there does concern me a little bit because when you have a tornado that's getting winds going just like that, and what that can do is, if there were a tornado, it would be right here. I'll tell you exactly where it is. What that can do is, as the tornado spins, it can pull in some rain with it. So let me think about this here. So I'm trying to also look, is that maybe like a little notch or some inflow? I want to get a closer look at some of the radar data again. I'm going to put on the different colors. This one gives us wind mode, and this is just a way I can judge the strength of a tornado. And let's see here. Let's pull this out a little bit more. Okay, yeah, so this area right here is the one that's a concern, and I'll give you a little feel. If there were a tornado, it'd be right here. And what I saw in those colors is how it was just weakening a little bit, where the greens and the reds, when they butt up against each other, weren't as tight. So what this means is this. Green just means there's stuff moving toward the radar. Red means it's moving away. Where the two meet, that's where you have some rotation. So that's why in this area right here, just to kind of give you a feel, this is where I'm right now keeping an eye on. If there were a tornado on the ground, it would be right here just south of the county seat, like the downtown area, Bridgeton. In this area, we're talking Trench Road. We're talking just before the water right there going into South Avenue, just to kind of give you a feel for where it's at. So again, we just stopped by just to give you a heads up that there's a tornado warning right now in parts of Cumberland County. We'll wind things out just a bit more to kind of show you where this concern is. So right now we're talking just south of the county seat at the moment, and I'm getting also some notifications from the National Weather Service. We have a connection. We have this National Weather Service chat where we can talk with the different meteorologists and we kind of give you a feel for what's going on. Okay, so there is the box right there. I want to see if we just got an update of that information. So yeah, that continues through 12:45 p.m. a tornado warning for Cumberland County at the moment right now. Let me show you what that looks like on the regular mode of Doppler radar, and it goes like this. So here it is. The storm itself, just to kind of give you a feel, is right there, and you can really see how much rain we're getting with this storm. And check out all the lightning that we're seeing with this as well, just to kind of give you a feel. So we'll get a closer look at where the potential tornado would be. It would just be in this area. This area, by the way, does have some hail. As I take you in much closer, this right over Bridgeton, see those purples? Those purples that you see right there, that, by the way, is an indicator that there's some hail. And that's been a problem with some of these storms, that we've had hail being reported with them as well. Now, as we continue to track this storm that has potential for a tornado, this thing is not moving particularly fast. Let me show you the loop of how fast this is moving, just to kind of give you a feel. And because these aren't moving the fastest, that's why this heavy rain is leading to flash flood warnings. And that's why we've seen that across different parts of our area. So here is just a feel for how this has moved over the last kind of hour or so. I'm going to back it up a little bit more. We'll just look at the last 15 minutes. So the storm was stronger. You see how there were purples, and now we're seeing fewer purples. That's an indicator that the storm is not as strong. Doesn't mean there's not still tornado potential. It just means it's giving you some indicators of the storm weakening. So tornado warning in effect through 12:45 p.m. right here. And we're just looking at that right now, kind of in that area, that box that you see. And here, I'm going to wind things out just to kind of give you a feel of the storm. We'll put that right into motion right now for you. And we're going to keep an eye just south of Bridgeton. So let me put in our wind mode of Doppler radar again. And my colleague Kathy Orr is joining me now. You've been keeping an eye on the radar from the FOX29 Weather Authority Weather Center.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this storm so far?
Well, you know what, Drew, we've been watching this. It's such a warm and humid air mass with this front coming through, and we probably should remind everyone what to do in the case of a tornado. Remember to go to an interior room of your home, away from the windows, and stay until this dangerous storm passes.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a basement, interior room, away from the windows, wait until the storm passes. If you have a basement, of course, go to the basement and wait for this storm to pass. So we knew there was a low threat of tornadic activity today, but we always say that low does not mean no. And we knew South Jersey, Delaware, the higher probability, that was where we had a little bit of spin in the forecast. So, we could see another spin up, but hopefully this will be it for the day. But we do have this tornado warning in effect, as you mentioned, until 12:45 this afternoon. Western Cumberland County and South Central Salem County. Now, you did mention that there was a little bit of hail in there, and we should check the shear trackers as well. And we can call in our assistant Ken to help us if we need some help here. But you can see that area. The storm is moving fairly quickly.
Yeah, I thought so too. So I just threw in real quick the we call it velocity. It's just the wind mode of Doppler radar. I just want to see what that's doing too. We'll get the hail up in just a second. So I'm just giving us a feel right now of that. Okay, I was just looking there, and then the next thing I want to see, and I'll put this into the current motion, is let's take a look at what you mentioned just a moment ago about a shear is an indicator of rotation. So just in the area we've been talking about is just south of Bridgeton right here, and that's where the concern is. If a tornado is on the ground is where it would be.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of shear. It's not a tremendous amount. It would give us the impression that if it is a tornado, potentially a weak tornado, that would be good news. And we're talking about the locations, Drew.
Yeah.
Very popular places that are in the path of this potential tornado. Millville, Bridgeton, Shiloh, Newport Meadows, also Fairton and Cedarville. If you live in these areas, you are in the path of a potential tornado. This was a Doppler radar indicated tornado.
So it doesn't necessarily mean a tornado is on the ground. It just means at any time a tornado could come down from that rotating storm. And we don't have the precision, just as a scientific community, to know that. That's why sometimes the National Weather Service will say Doppler indicated, because like that, a tornado could pop up.
Exactly.
It's strong enough for that.
Let's take a look at that Doppler radar, because we're looking at the Doppler-Dix radar in Jersey. So it's very close to the proximity of this rotating thunderstorm. So the National Weather Service looked at the radar, said, okay, this looks like a rotating thunderstorm. We knew these storms had spin in them because this is part of a much more powerful system that was out through the Great Lakes yesterday and produced multiple tornadoes, and that was in western Michigan. So here we go today, and part of the same complex is moving into the region. So as we look at the radar, there's some hail associated with it.
Yeah, I was just checking the history of the spins. So this is what we call spins being detected by the Doppler radar south of the county seat in Cumberland County. And then I wanted to see what some reports of hail were, because we saw the purples on the radar, which indicates there's some hail at the radar level where it's hitting the storm. And it's just a way to judge the strength of it. So let's bring it back to regular just kind of Doppler radar to kind of get you a feel for what's happening right now. Parts of Cumberland County, you're getting tons of rain. So listen, here's the bottom line of what's happening right now. So if you're in Cumberland County, I know some of you are just getting pelted with rain. We're looking live right now at 42. Look at that backup. I would imagine folks going a little slower because of the heavy rain. This is in Camden County, is where we're looking live. The tornado warning through in about another 4 minutes or so, and I suspect the National Weather Service will let this one expire, but we'll see, just because I'm not seeing anything like super strong with it. This is in parts of Cumberland County. And what I want to point out is if you are to the east of Bridgeton toward Millville, you're getting heavy rain, potentially even some smaller hail. It doesn't mean that you have the concern for a tornado. It's this area right here where we're drawing right now. As this moves 30 miles an hour, just to kind of give you a storm track on it, I want to give you a feel for the different communities that it's moving into. So I'm going to pull this out right here to about 30 miles an hour, which is what it's moving toward. And generally, I'm going to actually put it up a little bit more. Usually, we would get kind of different feel of where it be in. This kind of gives you a feel for how fast the storm is moving. So it would be into different parts of Cumberland County and heading toward Cape May County over the next 30 minutes or so, just to kind of give you a feel for what's happening at the moment.
So, Drew, we do have about 3 minutes left on this warning, so hopefully the National Weather Service will replace it with a severe thunderstorm warning. You can see that severe thunderstorm warning in Cumberland County until 1 o'clock. Still, I mean, rain wrapped here. So if you are in that vicinity of Millville, Vineland, through South Jersey, Salem County, Cumberland County, this is almost, if you have a loved one in that area that's driving, this is kind of pull off to the side of the road and wait until this storm passes, because this is torrential rain with whipping winds that are most likely in excess of 80, 90 miles an hour, perhaps.
All right, so we're tracking the storm right now. I want to give you a feel for the movement of it. So the National Weather Service keeping this tornado warning up for maybe another couple more minutes. We'll see what they do after that. I suspect, like you said, Kathy, they'll just downgrade it to a severe thunderstorm warning.
I'll go check on that.
But what we're looking at right there is just south of Bridgeton. You see that little, it's a little notch, a little V shape that's developing right there. That's an indicator of some strong winds that are feeding the storm, and that's one of the ingredients for a storm. So if you're in Cumberland County, here's what we're looking at. Here is exactly where the potential is for a tornado right now. So it's south of Bridgeton, just to kind of widen things out, to kind of look at some more communities. Let's take a look right here. So we're looking south of Bridgeton, south of Millville. So this would stay south of Millville if there were a tornado with this storm. And once again, I just want to check real quick the, okay, so it looks like, all right, so they just got an update. So they updated this to 1:30, just to kind of give you a feel for what's going on. And we're going to keep that up. And what I'm also going to do is, Kathy, do me a favor. Can you pull up Max right now for me as well. Just pull up my show on Max and load a radar seam in there so we have both systems to use. We have two different Doppler radar systems to really get more precise. They're different brains. What we do want to do is track this storm right now to kind of give you a feel for where our area concern is. So we're just showing you the flash flood warning right now, and my colleague Kathy will switch it back over to our other graphic system as we get that good to go here and get a closer look. One of the things that just developed with this storm in Cumberland County. So here's what you're looking at here. Let me just kind of clear the board a little bit just to kind of give you a feel. So first and foremost, we have two boxes for two different tornado warnings. National Weather Service is going to let that one tornado warning expire. Now they're looking at this second storm, which is just rapidly intensified. So, you know, earlier we were talking about how we were seeing less purples, and it looked like it was weakening. Now, all of a sudden, we got a big, bright area of purple, which indicates you got some hail with this storm, which has a tornado warning in effect through 1:30 p.m. for Cumberland County in New Jersey. That just means the storm got stronger, which gives you a bigger potential of having a tornado. So right now, if there were a tornado, I'm just going to real quick check some of the wind mode of Doppler radar to see what okay, so this is an area that would concern me right now. I'm going to circle it for you to kind of give you a feel. See these just brighter areas? And let me get some information on that. See if I can get some of the wind speed. So these numbers we see right here is talking about kind of some of the wind speed that's dropping out of the storm. And the National Weather Service looks at some of them to kind of give an indicator of exactly what's happening with the rotation of the storm. So I'm winding this thing out because this helps me judge exactly where the tornado would be if there were one. I'm looking for reds and greens to kind of come together. And I'm not as worried in a spot right here. This means there is a large area of rotation where those greens and reds come together. What I look for when there's a tornado warning, I want to see a really tiny area of the reds and greens. If I don't see that, that would mean this. The tornado would not be like an EF2 or stronger. It would be on the lower end if a tornado were to come down from the cloud. So thanks, Kathy. So when we talk about a lower end tornado, we're talking wind speeds that would still cause damage. Tornadoes, the EF0 start at 65 miles an hour, capable of wind damage. Around here on average, when we get a tornado, it's about 90 to 100 miles an hour. That has the potential to uproot trees. So which brings us to what Kathy and I were just talking about a little bit earlier. What you don't want to do right now if you're in Cumberland County, and I would say anyone in Cumberland County just to be safe, you don't want to be on the second story of your home if you have a big tree, because 90-mile-per-hour winds, 100-mile-per-hour winds are really effective at uprooting trees, which brings the potential for that to fall on the roof of a home. In addition, you want to get to the center of the home because you want to get away from windows. A tornado essentially is a big vacuum sucking up air. Well, air's got to rush in to replace the air that got sucked up. That carries debris. That kind of stuff can break windows. So just wanted to give you a feel of that. So if you're in Cumberland County, the best place for you to be right now is in the center of your home and not on the second story of your home.
So Drew, I know you mentioned this, that this warning has been extended until 1:30. There's something unusual. So this is obviously staying together. If this is a tornado, the path is fairly long that this is continuing to move so quickly. So the updated tornado warning officially from the National Weather Service says it's still a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It was located over Fairton near Bridgeton, and it's moving southeast still at 30 miles an hour. That tornado warning extended until 1:30 this afternoon. There's additional locations that will be impacted by this as it continues to move at a fairly fast pace. Southeast at 30 is pretty quick. So we're talking about Laurel Lake, Estelle Manor, even into Dorothy, Fairton, Brickborough, Cedarville, Port Elizabeth, into Eldora, South Vineland, and even right through Cumberland. So this is what we're talking about. Take cover, get to an interior room of your home or the basement away from the windows, as Drew mentioned. This does have some shear, that's some spin, and also some hail associated with it. Typically, with this type of system, we see a severe thunderstorm. There's some type of hail perhaps associated with it. There's some spin. The National Weather Service sees rotation, and then they immediately put out the tornado warning. Now, we could see if there's any ground truth to this. We haven't heard any reports of a funnel cloud or damage yet, but if this continues at this rate for the next 45 minutes or so, the path of this particular storm is going to be rather long within two counties. So heavy rain associated with this. So if you know anybody in any of these areas in South Jersey, please give them a call, let them know what's coming, because this storm is a strong storm. And it's torrential rain. We have to talk about that as well, Drew, because flooding concerns. This is moving southeast at 30 miles an hour, but it's also dumping probably 1 to 2 inches of rain in a short period of time. So it's a rain-wrapped storm that's going to be very difficult to see. So if you're in this area or you're heading to this area, pull off to the side of the road or wait a couple hours and then make your trip.
Yeah, and I want to show you, we're just looking at the involvement of the tornado warning. So I'm bringing it back. In addition to all that heavy rain that you were mentioning, Kathy, look at all the lightning with the storm as well. So what we've been focusing on is the tornado warning, which, by the way, now includes 3 counties. So we have Cumberland County in the tornado warning. We have Atlantic County and Cape May County. You can see all the real estate of the lightning and the heavy rain right now showing up on the radar. Let me show you exactly what's going on with these different storms and the tornado warning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull off some of the rain, and I want to show you just the watch and the warnings here to kind of give you a feel. We have severe thunderstorm watch coming in for a while. This whole area that you see, all these different counties, that's in the orange color, so I'll kind of give you the feel for who we're talking about. So still parts of Salem County, parts of Cumberland County, there's a severe thunderstorm warning at 1 o'clock. We're here and we stopped by just because of the tornado warning that is in effect coming up through into parts of the 1 o'clock hour for these different areas. And Camden County, by the way, thanks to my colleague Marianne, you know her from the Good Day After show, she's also monitoring everything coming into the FOX29 Weather Authority as well, Camden County. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take off the lightning. I mean, that is the big story right now. You see the radar with the heavy rain that Kathy mentioned. You see this bullseye coming toward Millville with some big-time hail. This right here, so at Millville, I know the world's opened up over you. You got that hail right there. I'm going to look at this little tool right now to kind of see what this storm looks like. I'm going back looking at the different colors to kind of give a feel of the strength of the storm. And now let's widen things out to kind of give you a feel for where we have the issues right now in South Jersey. So again, sorry to interrupt, but we're just tracking this storm that is potential for a tornado in parts of our area. We'll take a look at the different warnings, these boxes you see right here. So we've been talking about this tornado warning that's in effect through 1:30 p.m. for Atlantic County, Cape May County, and Cumberland County. That's not the only storm that we have a concern about. I want to take a closer look at this. In a different section, we're tracking the storm with a second tornado warning for Atlantic County, Camden County, and Gloucester County till 1:15 p.m. right now. And here's what's going on with this storm. So what I'm going to do is, just like we've been doing, I'm going to take a quick peek at the wind mode of Doppler radar, and I want to take a look in this area that we're seeing kind of right in here. So this area right here is where the concern is. You see how there's this brighter area showing up in parts. It's leaving Cumberland County, and it's just right now, actually it's leaving Gloucester County rather. It's leaving Gloucester County, and it's just coming in to parts of Atlantic County right now. If there is a tornado with this storm, it's right where I'm showing you, right over 322. Let's take a look at the radar with this to show you exactly what's happening. This is where we have the heavy rain, the lightning. These communities that you see on your screen right here, you have the potential for a tornado to be over you, in addition to the other area that we mentioned just a short time ago, Kathy.
Yeah, so Drew, it is incredible when you think about this, because we have torrential rain.
Yeah.
One active tornado warning, and that's going till 1:30. Now, I had a tracker up on that because it's moving so quickly southeast at 30 miles an hour, and at that speed and direction, you can see, I mean, Vineland, Millville, Bridgeton, Ferreton.
And you said it was what, 30 miles an hour?
30 miles an hour, yeah.
Okay, so let's get a little track on that, just kind of give you a feel. Let me clear that out and put the other track on that you had just a short time ago. So we're giving that 30 mile per hour run to kind of give you the feel of the different communities of where it would be and what time right there. I have more concern with the other storm, the one that's just leaving Gloucester County and coming into different sections of Atlantic County. That storm concerns me more for a tornado. They could certainly both have a tornado right now, but I really want to focus in on this one because this one looks like it has more rotation and more sort of oomph to it right there. So let's get the latest information on what's happening with this one. So these are the different counties that are included in the tornado warning. So we're talking about Gloucester County and Atlantic County through 1:15 this afternoon. That's why we stopped by and jumped in. Sorry to interrupt your show. And we're just giving a heads up to folks that live in that area for the potential of a tornado. If there is a tornado right now at this moment, it is right here. It's going over 322. We're talking the Black Horse Pike, and it's moving toward these communities. I'm going to widen out and do the storm tracker that Kathy had on just a short time ago to kind of give you a feel of where that's moving. That one, by the way, I would imagine is moving probably also at about 30 miles an hour or so. By chance, Kathy, did you see how fast that's moving?
Yes, that is
okay.
Also southeast at 30.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of track that, and we'll give you a feel for who has potential for that tornado that's leaving Gloucester County and heading toward portions. What I need to do is just kind of widen things out so we can see everything here. That's heading toward different sections of Cumberland County, and it looks like this over the next half hour or so. And just to kind of give you a feel for what's happening at the moment, it goes like this. So there's that 30 miles per hour that it's moving at, and these are the communities that we have concern for the potential of a tornado over the next about, say, 20 minutes or so, to kind of give you a feel for if there's a tornado, when that would be over your community. And hey, if you are one of those communities, what you want to do is you want to be in the center of your home. You want to stay away from windows because debris from one of these can break windows. And then secondly, you want to get off your second story. If you don't have a second story, you want to get to a basement, and or at the very least get to somewhere sturdy in the center of your home, because there's potential, if there is a tornado, for it to uproot trees. Oftentimes when we do get tornadoes, those stronger wind speeds, they have the potential to uproot trees, not so much snap them. You snap trees when tornado winds get stronger, like over 110. On average, when we get tornadoes, they're around 90 or 100. That's just a sweet spot where they can uproot large trees which can fall into homes. We see that with severe thunderstorm warnings with strong wind gusts. We're looking live down the shore right now as we take you with our cameras all across the area. This is Atlantic City right here as we look at just the conditions that have really worsened just in a short time over the last, say, half hour or so, which has left us with 2 tornado warnings right now. So we have tornado warnings, including, we were looking at Atlantic City in Atlantic County. That's where we have a storm that has rotation with it as well. And then we also still have the tornado warning in Cumberland County, where we're going to focus south of Millville. At this point, that particular storm is well south of Millville. And we're looking at this storm right here. So it's pouring over 55. I'm going to check out to see the latest information from the Doppler radar in terms of the spin. So let's see what we got right here. Just looking at these different colors. We also have this product with our system right here that gives us the kind of the indication of where spin could be. You see that with that green color showing up. So I'm going to bring back the regular radar to kind of give you a feel of where we're talking about. So the concern with this storm that we're eyeing up right here that has a tornado warning is this area right here. So with that in mind, let's get a closer look at these communities right here, because this is where the concern is right there. So we're talking Baileytown, and you can see some of the different roads where that storm would be going over the next 10 minutes or so for this tornado warning, one of 2 happening right now
So, Drew,
in Cumberland County.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have 5 counties right now that are under tornado warnings: Atlantic, Camden, Gloucester, Cape May, and Cumberland. So that's the area we're talking about. So new from the National Weather Service, an update. Tornado warning remains in effect until 1:30. We have southeastern Atlantic, southeastern Cumberland, northwestern Cape May County, which we haven't talked about Cape May just yet. Tornado potential and quarter-size hail associated with this. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing the tornado is located near Cedarville or near Millville, moving southeast at 30 miles an hour. So the speed continues, the direction continues, and the areas that continue to be threatened are Vineland, Millville, Cumberland, Laurel Lake, Estelle Manor, Mauricetown, Belle Plaine Forest, Leesburg, Port Norris, also through Dorothy, Fairton, Bricksboro, Port Elizabeth, also Eldora and Cedarville. If you know anyone that lives in any of these communities, is planning to head down the shore, please give them a call. Let them know that there are multiple tornado warnings in effect, or I should say multiple counties under a tornado warning. So these storms we've been tracking for the past hour or so. We have another half hour to go, but we started off not that long ago, Drew, talking about the initial warning for Salem and Cumberland, and now that threat has expanded into Gloucester, Cape May, and Cumberland as well. We have another half hour, and the storm is moving southeast at 30 miles an hour. So at that speed and direction, you're talking about a rain wrap potential severe thunderstorm that could be tornadic. There's also reports of potential, obviously, for spinning damage and also straight line thunderstorm wind damage. So you're going to have a combination of both with this.
And a lot of times when we get some of our nasty summer thunderstorm damage, it's from those strong wind gusts that blow down and just blow things in straight lines. Those can be as strong as tornadoes and cause damage, like uprooting trees that you would think, oh, a tornado came through. But when the damage is all in a straight line, it's just from a thunderstorm wind gust. This whole area you see right here is under that severe thunderstorm warning to say, hey, we have potential for those strong wind gusts capable of damage. So the potential for just the severe thunderstorm warning is parts of Salem County, Cumberland County, into Cape May County, Atlantic County, as well as parts of Gloucester County and also Camden County. The tornado warning, which is why we're here with you right now to give you a heads up in these communities. As Kathy was mentioning, this is the box we're watching right now for the tornado warning in Atlantic County, Camden County, and Gloucester County. This is a second storm that has potential to have spin that drops down as a tornado. That's in effect for a tornado warning through 1:30 for Atlantic County, Cape May County, and Cumberland County. At this point, the storm, where the storm would be with the tornado, is still pretty far to the west of Cape May County. So Cape May County, you're not in the danger yet, but the whole reason that we stop by and break program, and I'm sorry for jumping in over your show, is to give folks a heads up that while you don't have the storm yet in this little section of Cape May County, and we'll zoom in just a second. I'll show you who has the potential for a tornado, just to give you the heads up. Same goes for this stretch of Cumberland County south of Millville. And for this section of Atlantic County, for folks going down 322. This is 322 right there. So this is our concern at the moment for these counties, for two separate areas with a tornado warning. So
look at this, Drew. I drew right from where we have the potential tornado. You can see that hook in the radar. We did a tracker moving southeast at 30 miles an hour, and this is what we're coming up with. The storm should be at Laurel Lake, if that is a true tornado, by about 1:05. So if you live in that area, go to an interior room of your home, away from the windows. If the kids are outside, if you hear a rumble of thunder and it's just raining, if you live in Harleyville or even Bricksboro, get everybody inside, because this is a serious storm. Haley'sville by 1:10, Bricksboro by about 1:12, Dorchester by 1:15, Leesburg by 1:15, Delmont at 1:23, and Eldora at 1:26. And this storm is moving fairly quickly, and that radar does show a little bit of a hook there. So it will be interesting to see what the Weather Service says when all is said and done here, Drew.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that. So at the very least, that little, we call an inflow notch that's in there is just telling you it's such a strong storm. And the lightning just lets you know that. You're getting such a lightning show in those communities that have that tornado warning right now. Two different ones. The one's going through 1:15, the other one's going through 1:30. Where Kathy was talking about, you have a tornado warning through 1:30. In the Gloucester County and the storm that's moved in now at this point to Atlantic County, you have a tornado warning through 1:15. So let's take a closer look at the other storm that we have a tornado warning for. That would be, just to kind of widen things out, to kind of give you a feel for what's going on, that would be for up here, as we're looking toward that storm traveling pretty much along portions of 322. And this particular storm would be wrapped in not only rain, but we would have really strong thunderstorm wind gusts. You can have both a tornado and those strong wind gusts that Kathy was talking about that cause damage in a straight line. As we look at the live picture over Atlantic City right now, you know, it's humid outside. That's one of the fuels for these tornadoes. We have in these storms, there is some rotation, some spin in the storm. The National Weather Service issued this tornado warning for Atlantic County that goes through 1:15 is because there's potential at any time for a tornado to lower from the storm itself. So let's put a storm track on this one, because this one, by the way, is moving at about 30 miles an hour as well. These are the communities in the path of this storm that have the potential for tornadoes. So just to kind of give you a feel for that, we're talking about places in Atlantic County, just to kind of give you a feel. This is the play-by-play of when the storm would be in your community. So Mays Landing, we're talking about 1:14, just to kind of give you a feel. among some other towns. So over the next 15 minutes or so, we'll see if the National Weather Service continues that tornado warning for this storm that's through 1:15. We also have the tornado warning for the other storm. That one, by the way, goes for 1:30. That's the one we've been focused on in Cumberland County, but also it has its path heading toward Cape May County. So let's take a closer look in that region right now to kind of see what's going on with this storm. In addition, we have flash flood warnings. The water has just collected up in spots. The lightning is wild with these storms. There's lots of severe thunderstorm warnings. You may not have a tornado warning. You might have a severe thunderstorm warning. You can get wind gusts as strong as a tornado from those storms, just from the thunderstorm wind gusts. So this is a nasty situation that has really developed and unfolded just over the last 30 minutes to 45 minutes at this point for South Jersey, to kind of give you the concern of what's happening right here. You see this red right back there? That's where we have flash flood warnings from all that heavy rain. I suspect we'll get more flash flood warnings from the areas that have the tornado warning right now. So we'll swing things over to show the tornado warning in kind of the different perspective that we were looking at just a short time ago, and just to give you these two different spots that have that tornado warning. And one of the things that we're focusing on right now is those two red boxes you see on the screen right there. So you're looking at right now the tornado warning that is at this point just in Atlantic County. So it is left, the concern is left Camden County and Gloucester County, and the concern now is just in Atlantic County, where we're doing that storm track for you for this particular storm right here. This one right here is the one in southern Cumberland County heading into portions of Cape May County, which is right here, and a different section of Atlantic County. The severe thunderstorm warning is also there as well, but this tornado warning is going through 1:30 as we track this storm that has potential for a tornado to lower at any time. So I wanted to give you that perspective in South Jersey of exactly where the issues are with some of the storms. And we're looking at our rotation detector on our other system, and that has given us a feel for where the tornado would be. And I appreciate my colleague pulling that up and pulling up the storm track to kind of give you a feel for exactly who's in the path of danger if there's a tornado with this storm. The green means rotation has been detected, which means it's a stronger storm, which has the potential right now to have a tornado on the ground right over 322, and it shows you the communities that it's heading into over the next 15 minutes or so. This is for that tornado warning that continues in a different section of Atlantic County that we're talking about through 1:15 right now. And the other places that we're looking at the moment is just all the lightning and all the rain. And I'm trying to just get a feel of the storm itself, what the shape of the storm is, because that indicates to us the strength of a storm. And it also indicates where there's some trouble spots. At this point, these storms look like they're kind of in the squall line, so a tornado would be embedded in these areas of heavy rain. So I got the radar up right now, Kathy, and what have you noticed?
So if we can go back to Barron, or go back to our Barron source, I want to show you how this warning is shrinking. That's the good news. The tornado warning in effect for Salem County and also Cumberland County is shrinking as the storm moves toward the southeast. That warning up until about 1 o'clock, 1:15, and you're going to see these boxes obviously shrink. So it's out of Deerfield, Bridgeton, the threat is over, but still for Millville, Maurice River, you're still in that tornado warning till at least 1:15. I mean, we have 5 different counties impacted by these 2 tornadoes and potential tornadoes. The tornado warning remains in effect until 1:15 for northwestern Atlantic and south central Camden County and southern Gloucester County, of course. And the other tornado that you were talking about that heading toward Egg Harbor City, you can see the threat was in Winslow. That box is heading down the Atlantic City Expressway as we see that warning continuing to move south. So that tornado warning in parts of Atlantic County, extending into Cape May County, that's going to last a little bit longer. So right now, the update from the National Weather Service, we have severe thunderstorm warnings in all counties: Atlantic, Cumberland, Salem, Camden, Gloucester, North Cape May, even southeastern Burlington County. That's until 1:45 for severe thunderstorms.
Which could be wind gusts capable of causing damage that have the potential to uproot trees. So they give an estimate of the wind speed. So 70 mile per hour.
Gusts.
So when you get wind speeds about 80 or more so 90 or 100, that can uproot trees. I'm just taking a look right now. I want to judge the strength of the storm and the concern right now. And we're talking for the storm that's in parts of Atlantic County. I know we have 2 different tornado warnings in Atlantic County. The concern right now, if there is a tornado in this area, it's right here. It's over 322. It's just north of Mays Landing. Mays Landing, this storm with the potential of a tornado is coming into your backyard in the next 5 minutes. So if you're in Mays Landing, you want to be in the center of your home, and you do not want to be on the upper story of your home. If you don't have an upper story, you want to be in a sturdy area like a bathroom toward the center of your home. The key is get away from windows and get away from anywhere where a large tree could be uprooted and fall on your home. Kathy, what are you noticing?
Well, look at this. In our tornado warning area, when we look at the strong winds, you can see these different colors where that light red or the green comes into the red. So we're looking at the potential for the location of that tornado warning near Weymouth. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but heading toward the southeast and getting very close to Egg Harbor City, Route 30, Route 40, 322. So this is what we call the shear velocity that we're able to look at with our Doppler radar. So potential for a tornado in Atlantic County, moving very close to Route 30, the Expressway, 40, 322, and heading toward Absecon and Pleasantville, Estelle Manor. These are the areas. So we have our two tornado warning areas almost kind of coming together.
Yeah, look at these two. They're converging.
You can see that on our Doppler radar.
With the latest update.
Really looking at a serious situation here when you look at those two warnings, and you can see that shear forming as the storm moves southeast.
Here's what I want to stress with this. If there is not a tornado with this storm, you are having wind gusts right now in Atlantic County that are tornado strength. There's no doubt about it, because we're seeing this bright red. That's one of the indicators to me and Kathy that you have nasty, strong winds with this storm. We look at this to judge the strength of the tornado. Regardless, you're having some really strong wind gust with that. So thanks to my colleague back in the Weather Center, kind of giving us a little feel of some of the different strengths of these storms. What I want to do is I want to slide into the other tornado warning. So we were talking about the one in Atlantic County that goes for another 5 minutes. We also have this tornado warning that is for the southern spots of Cumberland County. And this area right here, we're looking at the winds to kind of judge the strength. I can tell you this storm is just kind of broadly rotating. This one doesn't really concern me personally as much for a tornado, but if one were to pop up, it would be right here over this road right there. What is that, 55? Yeah, so 55, just to kind of give you a feel. So that's just south of, but maybe about 10 minutes south of Millville or so, maybe a 10 or 15 minute drive or so. That's for this right here, leaving parts of Cumberland County, coming into portions of Cape May County. Now, the warning itself also includes a little section of Atlantic County, but the concern for this storm is right here, so this would take it into Cape May County as the National Weather Service continues this area, this tornado warning through 1:30 for portions of Cumberland County and Atlantic County. We're tracking the storm to give you a feel for when it would be in your community over the next kind of 15 to 30 minutes or so. This is when you have a storm that has the potential for a tornado. Why this storm doesn't particularly look as strong as the other one we're watching that has a tornado warning. At any time, this storm can strengthen and drop a tornado.
Yeah, and
we saw that earlier today, Kathy.
Yeah, and I mean, you can have an opportunity for if it is a tornado, to touch down, create damage.
Exactly.
Potentially skip a few neighborhoods, do it again. So these are the areas that we're concerned with this potential tornado in Cumberland County, moving southeast toward Cape May County and Atlantic County. It will be in Mount Pleasant by about 1:31, but in Woodbine by about 1:27, Belle Plaine at 1:20. If you live in Upper Township or North Dennis at 1:27, rumbles of thunder, torrential rain with this. We're talking about a rain-wrapped storm.
So much lightning with this. It's an insane amount of lightning.
It's thousands of lightning strikes.
Yeah.
We've been counting them, and you can see it's over 1,100. Now, Drew, I do want to bring up a point about the tornado warning that was over Gloucester County, moving southeast to Atlantic County.
Sure.
And we talked about that potentially expiring soon. Well, I guess it's 1:30 now. But
it looks
that's
like the storms are converging. It's that whole path of this. There's some instability with this line number. So first of all, I wanted to put all the light, because this is an insane amount of thunder. Your house is shaking right now in the communities we've been talking about in South Jersey. And we're giving you this heads up in portions of Atlantic County and Cape May County that this is all heading your way. So this is your early warning, portions of Cape May County and Atlantic County, that you got some nasty stuff heading your way right now. But as you were mentioning, Kathy, the way these storms are kind of coming together, this whole area has the potential for causing wind damage. If you're not in the tornado warning, because some portions of Atlantic County are not, that storm that's over you still has the potential to cause wind damage that is a strength of a tornado warning. So when we have a strength of a tornado, rather, when you have wind gusts over 65 miles an hour, that's tornado strength. So this whole area is getting some nasty storms between the lightning and strong wind gusts. But we stopped by here and sorry to interrupt your show to give folks a heads up in these areas right here with these red boxes where we have a tornado warning. Let's get a closer look at exactly who has the tornado warning right now. So we're talking about this storm that's leaving Cumberland County, going into portions of Cape May County, and just this little portion of Atlantic County. But the storm that has the tornado, where the tornado's path would be, it would take it more so into Cape May County. The National Weather Service draws these boxes wider as time goes out because storms can move, they can turn, but just looking at the track, Cape May County is the one that would have the concern for this tornado warning if the National Weather Service continues that past 1:30. So in about 15 minutes from now, if you're in far western Cape May County, that is where you have the potential for getting a tornado. I'm talking these communities kind of right here, so to the south of these right on your screen to give you a feel. That's the one tornado that we've been tracking. In addition, we have another tornado potential out of this one that is just completely in Atlantic County. This one right here, the National Weather Service has it in effect through 1:15 p.m. We'll see if this disappears coming up. We're about 5 seconds away from 1:15. I suspect they'll keep this because this one looked like the stronger one of the two storms. So I'm waiting to see if they update that box. We'll keep an eye on that. Kathy, what are you seeing?
I'm going to check on that. I can go in the Weather Center
Yeah.
and check on that for you. But that particular storm, we saw some opportunities for some spin. Oh, just changed. Severe thunderstorm warning. Good.
Huh, so they wiped that out.
They
Okay.
allowed that to expire. I was more concerned with the straight line thunderstorm wind damage as well because that was a huge line. So
let's look at it.
that severe thunderstorm warning, that's going to be for 5 counties at least through 1:45, and there is the line. If you put that in motion, Drew,
Sure will.
and go like the last hour, this is like a bulldozer. And look how fast it moved from Philadelphia. Hey, was it even an hour?
No,
12:15,
less than that.
12:15 to 1:15.
Yeah.
That's it. So that is a bulldozer. That's moving southeast at 30 miles an hour. And then add the speed of the wind onto that. That could be 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. I mean, I'm very concerned about the damage that this has done between, you know, the river, maybe even Philadelphia, and when you get into interior South Jersey, because this is holding together.
And one of the things I thought of when you talked about the storm and the strength itself, as well as its movement speed, think of a moving walkway at an airport, right? When you get on that moving walkway and you walk on it, you're moving much faster than someone next to you because it's giving you the speed of the walkway itself as well as you walking. That just means when you see a line like this that's moving really fast, it has such strong wind gust with it. So this whole area in South Jersey, so we're talking from Burlington County right through Atlantic County, soon to come into parts of Cape May County, have wind gusts capable of wind damage. We're here right now to track this tornado warning. So the one that we were tracking with the storm that was heading over 322, the National Weather Service let it expire. You can see how when I put this radar just in the current position, you see how the line of the reds and the yellows aren't as tight? We're seeing some green in there. That means that's portion of the storm weekend. However, that is not the case with this area where the tornado warning continues through 1:30 right now. You see some of those purples. That means there's some hail with this storm as well. We've had records of some of these storms as they're bailing across parts of our area with a little bit of hail that was coming down. This hail is not big enough to cause damage. It's just up there in the storm. It's humid, it's warm, some of it's melting, but it has some hail with some of these storms as well. This concern right here is for a tornado warning, and this storm, we're going to kind of give you a feel for what we're talking about right now. This is the one for Cumberland County, soon to move into parts of Cape May County. That tornado warning in effect for about another 10 minutes or so. We're giving the heads up to Cape May County. The communities right now that where you have concern at any moment a tornado could drop down from the storm is right here, just to kind of give you a feel for what's happening. So these different roads that I put on here, at this point, because it is a line, it's really anywhere it could pop up. If there would have to be a spot that would have me kind of look at the most concern and be right here, because that's potential. We're going to have some warmer air feeding the storm. So I'm talking at the crossroads right now of Hands Mill Road and Woodbine Avenue. So just to the west of the center of the community there, that is where the storm is, that it's potential to drop a tornado at any moment. And there certainly could be a tornado on the ground with that right now. So I'm going to widen things out and we'll track this and we'll look at the future communities that have potential for a tornado as this continues to move toward Cape May County, currently in Cumberland County, where we have a tornado warning in effect through 1:30. So I'm going to draw it just like there, and the reason I'm going to pick the spot that I'm going to pick is because that is the spot that kind of concerned me the most, but really it could be just about any portion of that line. So there you go. These are some of the different communities that are showing up right now that have potential for that tornado warning. So over the next 10 minutes or so, we have more of that kind of showing up. And I'm actually going to hop on to our second graphic system because we have two different radars to monitor things. Kind of think of it like, X-ray vision. It gives us different things for us to look at. We see all the lightning right now that's showing up with these storms. I mean, your houses have to be just rumbling right now in parts of Cumberland County and also Cape May County at this point. And Kathy, what are you seeing?
Okay, so we have a few reports coming in. Burlington Township is saying they have flooding going on in Pineland. Pinewald Lane is flooded. We also have some reports of thunderstorm wind damage, which is not a surprise, in Folsom, Atlantic County. Fire department reported that there were trees down along Canes Mill Road. Also report for Folsom trees and wires down along Route 54 near Hamilton. Camden reporting flash flooding along U.S. bound 130 South 76 in Gloucester City. 2 right lanes and 3 left lanes closed.
From flash flooding?
Flash flooding. We also have, let's see, some thunderstorm wind damage in Philadelphia. Telephone pole into a roof. That was when the storm came through around 12:06. We also have to check on the status because the National Weather Service was looking like they were shrinking our tornado warning, which is good news at this point, Drew.
Yeah, because it's tough to tell where in that box would be because a lot of times when you get tornado warning, it's just for little cluster storms. These storms have developed more so that it's more of a concern for thunderstorm wind gusts. Likely there would not be a tornado and it would just be strong wind gusts dropping out of this storm. But if there is a tornado, or regardless, you're getting these nasty strong summer thunderstorm wind gusts. I'm talking those straight line winds that just blow things down and it looks like a tornado passed through in a straight line in these communities right here. So this is the storm we're keeping an eye on. The National Weather Service has that tornado warning up for portions of Cumberland County. At this point, the storm is moving into Cape May County, so it's more Cape May County and even a portion of Atlantic County right here. So we're talking south of Galloway in these communities to kind of give you a feel for when that storm that has the potential for wind gusts that can cause damage, as well as for certainly a tornado to drop down, because we can have these strong wind gusts come from a storm and also a tornado embedded in that. You just don't know. The National Weather Service is monitoring the spin and the rotation of the storm. If they see a certain amount of spin, that's why they keep the tornado warning. Now, the National Weather Service can cancel tornado warnings earlier, but they wanted to keep it in place because there's still potential for any time a tornado to be embedded in this area of just insanely heavy rain along with all this lightning. Kathy, what else have you been seeing with some of the information coming into the FOX29 Weather Authority Weather Center?
Well, Drew, we have our rotation director detector up. And first, let's talk a little bit about the speed and direction. We've been talking about this storm is moving southeast at 30 miles an hour. And these are the areas in harm's way. In Belle Plaine, the storm will be there at 129. North Dennis at 137. Woodbine as well, 137. Mount Pleasant, 143. Hopefully a severe thunderstorm at that point, and Tuckahoe by 143. But we have this rotation detector that is showing the speed and direction of the storm in that warning area. And if you look to the box to the left, it says east southeast 24 miles an hour. The cloud tops, they were just at 31,000 feet. So obviously where the planes fly, 60% chance of hail, severe hail potential, hail size ½ inch in diameter. So you're talking about a strong potential tornadic storm. Also, there's concern for straight line thunderstorm winds. And this storm continues on its track that started in Salem County through Cumberland County, now on its way into Cape May County in the northern part of Cape May County and southern Atlantic County. And we have about 7 minutes left on this warning. But it will be interesting to see if the Weather Service allows this to expire. So it did expire for Salem and part of Cumberland, but this is a powerful storm. We talked about it moving southeast at 30 miles an hour. Also potential for having 70, 80, 90 mile an hour winds with it. creating a lot of damage already with trees, poles down. Flooding has already been reported in several communities. And if we look at these rain rates, I'm sure that they're about 2 to 3 inches an hour. I mean, it looks like an insane amount of rain. When you look at those purple areas, if we could zoom into those as well, in Millville, look at this,
wow.
6 inches. Wow, I underestimated. 6 inches an hour. That's in the Woodbine area, even toward Egg Harbor City, obviously along the Atlantic City Expressway. If you know anyone that's planning on heading down the shore or taking the back roads to the beach, it is Friday after all, please have them wait a couple hours until these storms pass. And even after these storms pass, Drew, we're talking about the flooding that will continue afterwards. So you're looking at rain rates of 6 to 7 inches an hour. So just imagine trying to drive on an interstate. You cannot in this type of rain because the area roads will be flooded in a matter of a couple minutes. And that's what we're seeing happening right now across areas in South Jersey.
And to give you a feel of that, Kathy, so what's happening right now with some of that is you mentioned that we had those rainfall rates of 6 inches an hour. That means when we look at some of these storms are moving about 30 miles an hour. You're getting about half that easy. So all these communities right here, you cut these numbers in half, you at least got that. That's why we have such issues with flash flooding across these sections of South Jersey, from Burlington into Atlantic County, into Cape May County, also Cumberland County, Salem County. We have reports that Kathy shared with us about the flash flooding potential. We're here for this tornado warning, so we're going to bring it back to our local radar. We're going to show you the storm. Oh, the storm does look like it's weakening a bit, so I wouldn't be surprised if the National Weather Service does discontinue that warning coming up here in about 5 minutes or so. So I was just taking a kind of a peek at what's happening right now, and just to kind of give you a feel with this storm. The reason I say it's weakening is you see all of this, right? There's a big glob of red, and there's a lot of real estate. Look how the real estate is really narrowed with this, and it's kind of zoned in. If there were a tornado with this storm, it's going to be right here. So we're talking about this area right here. Well, here, first of all, let me just kind of zoom things out and give you the context of what's happening. We're talking about this portion of the storm that's leaving Cumberland County, heading into Cape May County. I'm taking a closer look right now because I was going to right where those purples were. So that's just some very tiny hail. You saw Kathy. She had the info, the stats on the storm that was talking about kind of the hail and what's going on with that. Less than quarter size doesn't cause damage, so that's not as big as a concern right there. Let's get some more, kind of move these things around and see what we're talking about. Hail's not a concern for causing damage. You mentioned the storms. Notice how the top of the storms are coming down. So airplanes fly at about 30,000 feet. When Kathy was tracking this storm, the top of the storm had come down to about 30,000 feet. Now we're down about another 5,000 feet. You want a big storm to maintain those strong wind gusts capable of damage. You need a bigger storm to get bigger size hail. The fact that the top of the storm is coming down is an indicator that the storm is weakening. With that said, wow, what a lightning show we have right now. Getting tons of heavy rain, still wind gusts with it that are causing damage. It's just the wind gusts are not as strong as they once were, Kathy.
You know what, Drew? I was just checking some data in the Weather Center, and we're hopeful that at 1:30 the National Weather Service will allow this tornado warning to expire. They're giving some indication that it will be expiring in Atlantic, Cape May, and Cumberland counties, but we don't know officially just yet. I do want to share some information. In Yardley, Bucks County, there are reports of flash flooding, water rushing over roadways in Yardley. Also flash flooding being reported in Bucks County, throughout the county. Confirmed marine warnings going on right now, of course, with the winds that have been whipping up. And also, I mentioned earlier, in the Pinewald Lane area of Burlington County. Some areas of Burlington Township are flood prone, but we're seeing a lot of flood reports. Potential for a trees and power lines down in several locations. And we've been watching this. Now we're looking at that huge area where there's a severe thunderstorm warning, highlighted in orange. Several counties from southern Burlington County, Atlantic County, Cape May County, Cumberland County, and potentially the southern part of Gloucester County.
So here's the bottom line on the nasty storms. They're going to be off the coast here in about 15 to 30 minutes. So they're exiting portions of South Jersey. At this point, it's just left in what Kathy was mentioned, the portions of Burlington County, the nasty stuff, also in Atlantic County. We just got a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's get the latest update with that. That continues to 2:15 as these storms head into more places in Cape May County. The tornado warning still in effect here for another about a minute or two or so. We're keeping an eye on that. We wouldn't be surprised if it just gets downgraded to just a severe thunderstorm warning. But let's zoom in and take a look right now at where this storm would be if there were a tornado. So if there's a tornado with this storm at this portion in time, it'd be coming in to right here. So just to kind of give you a feel, this is where Cape May County starts. It's right there. So the storm's just about to leave Cumberland County and hop into Cape May County over the next about 2 minutes or so. And the strongest part of this storm is what we're seeing right here. Is we see some of those purples. That just means there's some hail higher up in the storm. That's also your indicator a lot of times if there were to be a tornado, it'd be in that general vicinity. So if there is a tornado with this storm where the National Weather Service might let it expire, the tornado warning expire in the next minute or so, it would be leaving these communities that we're looking at right there, some of the local roads, just to kind of give you a feel about to hop into Cape May County. With that said, we have all those strong storms causing flash flooding, so much lightning in portions of Cape May County, as well as Cumberland County. We're looking live in Ocean City. Look at the cameras shaking right now. We have cameras around the region. You can always get them at FOX29.com to see the current conditions. You can see, and the storm's not even there yet, how much that camera's getting shaken. Look at the bird flying away. These storms are only getting stronger as it heads toward that area right now. So, Kathy, what are you seeing here as we head on 1:30? It looks like the tornado warning, I'm curious to see if the National Weather Service is going to let that expire. I'm going to widen things out.
They have issued a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Cape May and Atlantic County until 2:15. So it looks like the tornado risk has expired.
Okay, so at this point, severe thunderstorm warnings with wind gusts capable of wind damage, lots of lightning. There will be flooding rains in portions of Burlington County, Atlantic County, and Cape May County. We were here, sorry to interrupt your show, just because of a tornado warning, give people heads up because there could be a tornado at any moment. Now that we just have severe thunderstorm warnings, we're going to turn you to the show that's on right now. If there's any more tornado warnings, we'll certainly pop in with that. But at this point, these storms are just about off the coast, and there should be no more concern for strong storms as the afternoon goes on. We'll send it back to what's on right now on Fox 29.
Good Friday afternoon, everyone. I'm Fox 29 Weather Authority Scott Williams, keeping tabs on severe weather rolling through the area. We've been watching thunderstorms as well as multiple tornado warnings over the past couple of hours. Started north and west, moving into South Jersey right now. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for sections of Cape May County until about 2:30. Lots of lightning with this system as well. Also, we have a tornado warning. Look at this for Sussex County, and that goes until about 2:30. That is in southern sections of Delaware. We'll zoom in, of course, and show you what we're watching with that cell in Cape May County right now. Places like Serio, Avalon, moving toward Stone Harbor, looking at very heavy rainfall. We're talking rainfall rates up to 6 inches per hour. So blinding rainfall with this. But look at the lightning on the system as I put the tracker on it. Almost 1,000 lightning strikes down the shore. So when thunder roars, definitely head indoors with this particular system. Now, as far as what's happening across the entire area, you can see how we put this loop on, showing you that heavy rainfall that has been moving generally from north to south over the past half hour or so. Now, we had tornado warnings on these cells when they were north and west. It still is pretty strong, even though we don't have a tornado warning with this system. That severe thunderstorm warning capable of producing some winds in excess of 80 miles per hour. Some straight line wind damage will be likely as this continues pushing to the south as well as to the east. So we'll zoom out just a bit, showing you what we're watching as far as areas north and west with this particular severe thunderstorm warning that is pushing down the shore. Delaware right now, we're looking at that tornado warning. So as we kind of get a little closer to this is in sections of Sussex County. Of course, this goes until about 2:30. It's moving to the south and east at about 20 miles per hour. So what I'm going to do is stop this here and show you what's happening right now. With that, I'll take the lightning off and we'll take a look at the warning for that particular cell in Sussex County, and you can see it Showing a pretty healthy thunderstorm. Lots of hail with this system as well. A pretty good hail core. This is Georgetown looking at Highway 9 as well as Highway 113 moving toward the Millsboro area. So once again, putting a particular storm track on this for you, and you can see the cloud tops at 43,000 feet. Hail, a good probability with this, and we're talking about the likelihood of some quarter-size hail. So as we take this full, you can see some of the areas that will be impacted by this. We're talking the Highland Terrace area, 206, Georgetown, as well in the path of this potential Doppler radar indicated tornado. Movement to the east-southeast, about 17 miles per hour. Wood Branch, you're in the path of it. Moving toward Fish Hook as well, around 218. So tornado warning in effect for Sussex County, and that goes until about 2:30. So the entire area, we've been dealing with severe weather this afternoon. We talked about the threat today. We have the heat, we have the humidity, and thus we have those thunderstorms that have been bubbling up. What I'm going to do is just show you what's happening right now across the entire area. We'll take some of these warnings off, but you can see that we still have the heavy activity pushing into sections of Cape May County as well as into the Delaware area in Sussex County. But once again, we'll recap that severe thunderstorm warning for Cape May County, and that goes until about 2:15. We'll put a tracker on some of this activity as well, moving toward some of these locations. So we're talking about some blinding rainfall if you are around Stone Harbor, Avalon. Of course, get off of the beach because when thunder roars, you need to head indoors. If you can hear thunder, you can be struck by lightning. So keeping tabs on severe thunderstorm warning for Cape May County over the next half hour or so. This is pushing to the east-southeast right now at about 20 miles per hour. We'll send you now back to programming. If anything else develops, we'll update this, of course, as we take more looks at Ultimate Doppler. Now back to programming. Quick update here on severe weather. I'm meteorologist Scott Williams. We've been keeping tabs on thunderstorms rolling out of the eastern shore of Maryland into parts of Delaware, now turning severe thunderstorm warnings for the entire state of Delaware. In fact, Sussex County is now under a tornado warning until 7:30. So we're just going to briefly talk a little bit about that. You can see this nasty cell moving from Maryland into southern parts of Sussex County, capable of producing a potential tornado. Lots of lightning, heavy rainfall rates up to 6 inches per hour with that, as well as gusty winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Also, you can see we have severe thunderstorm warning for Newcastle County as well as for Kent County, Delaware, and that stretches across the Delaware Bay into parts of Salem, Cumberland, as well as Gloucester County until 7:45. Some of this could clip parts of the I-95 corridor in South Philadelphia, but vivid lightning seen with this system as well. And you can see numerous storm reports, not only from earlier today, but from that particular cell. And look at all of this lightning. You can see that lightning from Philadelphia just lighting up the sky south and west into parts of Delaware. So once again, we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect with this line as it pushes from west to east. Another mesoscale convective system that will kind of impact the area over the next couple of hours, but severe thunderstorm warnings as well as that tornado warning for Sussex County until 7:30. We'll send you now back to programming already in progress.